sole purpose why I did not tell him I was pregnant. No, I couldn't tell him when your brother was there. No, I'm not gonna fix it because I know how you react. This is how you react. I'm not fixing to have this reaction in front of your brother when I found out I'm finally pregnant. I finally get something from you.
I couldn't call him before my baby was breached. I picked up phone. I told my mom to talk to him. And he said on the phone that I don't have a ride up there. I can't get up there.
That was
at
after the
Suburban.
fact.
That you looked your husband in the eye and gave him permission to sleep with your sister?
Yes, and now it's a problem. Right. She is probably about number 35 of the women that he'd been with.
Two sisters caught up in a paternity issue because Ms. Hayes claimed her sister's husband as the father of her child, and she wants a DNA test as proof. Yeah, I get that these kind of allegations can literally make us want to doubt the phrase sisters before misters, but let's see if they'll end up as sisters again, or if this squabble will tear them apart.
Hayes, you say that your sister, the defendant, claims to have a child with your husband of 10 years, and you have petitioned the court for a paternity test. And you are here to warn her that when he finds out her baby is not his today, she'll probably never hear from him again.
However, the younger sister holds a different opinion. According to her, Ms. Hayes is just envious of her and wants her to cut off from their lives. Woman, I think she should be furious as well because of this spiteful act of yours.
Ms. Hayes, you state that your sister is just jealous that you were able to have her husband's baby and she was not. You have no doubts that your sister's husband is your baby's father, and when you leave here today, you want her out of your life for good.
Yes.
Nevertheless, Ms. Michelle threw some light on the background saga of this malicious relationship. She told the court that she found them in the bed doing some nasty things. That would have been surely mortifying.
I came home and found him and her in our bed naked, and I just, I can't believe it after everything I've done for her. I knew that they were sleeping together, but to put it in my face and be in my bed and me walk in and catch them naked, why would it be any different? She slept with my first husband and my second husband. I didn't even know about my second husband until my dad told me.
Around each of them in the same predicament.
However, have you ever seen someone knock out the person who saved your life and did everything best for you? Well, here you will see the even worse of that. How could she do that to her own sister like this?
So the court can clarify, this was your younger sister?
Yes. I've had custody of this girl since she was 11. The choices that she made between our dad and her mom led her into drugs, prostitution, everything else. The latest time that I rescued you, I helped you get clean.
Yes, Your Honor,
I went to Chicago after not hearing from her for 7.
But baby mama had sob storylines. In her words, the things she went through that was pretty painful to her. But whatever she did to her sibling doesn't support her. I mean, cheating on your sister with her husband isn't something that can be justified anyway.
I lost control of my life, myself, my morals, everything. And when I got clean,
every time you picked up a phone,
when I got clean, I had been an addict and homeless for 15 years.
It wasn't your mom.
And I didn't know how to be respectful. I didn't know how to be a woman.
No, wait, what? Ms. Michelle asked her husband to cheat on her, but Ms. Shane would have stopped this nasty thing right away, but she didn't. So why did the plaintiff brag about this matter to the court when she herself cut her hands off?
That mean that you looked your husband in the eye and gave him permission to sleep with your sister?
Yes. Well, I had been with him for 10 years. Right. She is probably about number 35.
Even though the testimony was nasty, this wasn't enough. On procession, things kept getting worse. When FYI Ms. Hayes called strippers over to her house for her husband. Man, can't you get enough of this?
They also had an open relationship where Michelle has invited people, like on Corey's birthday, invited other women over to be a part of that. They had an open relationship like that.
It wasn't an open relationship. There was a stripper that came to the house.
Future, the elder sisters claimed that her husband, he is infertile and cannot produce a child. In this all drama, the only thing that made them related is their siblings' rivalry.
Is the reason why you think he's not the father of your sister's child because you think he's not able to have children?
Yes. She told him that she's got more than he does, that he's not a man.
I do.
Wow. What I want to impress upon you ladies as you argue like sisters is that really it's not about you.
Look at my baby.
It's about that beautiful little baby.
However, the sisters' drama wasn't helping in the testimony. So, Judge Lauren decided to hear from Mr. Hill, and this is how he testified about his doubts regarding being a father.
So, there are questions that you may not be this beautiful little girl's father. Now, are you also in question about that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie, deep down inside, I do have some doubts, and that is because I've been through this situation twice before.
How could he get caught up in so much work that he couldn't even manage to find time to sign a birth certificate? That was surely a very lame excuse, because if you desire it, you make it.
Are you on the birth certificate?
Unfortunately, no, I'm not.
No, he wouldn't sign it. He had to go to
That's
work.
not the case, ma'am.
He wouldn't. He was at the hospital every day and could have signed it at any time. It didn't have to be that particular day at that particular time.
Why didn't
That's
you
not
sign the
true.
birth certificate?
I had to be to work within an hour. They came down for her to sign the papers. By the time they would go up and get the papers for me to sign, I would have already been at work.
Plaintiff asserted that he never got any woman impregnated before. Then how come to her sister conceived the baby by her husband? However, the flagrant statement that baby daddy gave will blow your mind.
You also stated to the court, Ms. Hayes, that in all the years that you were together with Mr. Hill, he never got you pregnant.
No, and the other 25 women that he carried on with for long-term relationships.
No, you just jealous of us and you want to take the baby. That's what that is.
I don't want your baby. I don't want Kayla.
I didn't say you wanted to have the baby. I said you wanted to have the baby taken from us.
Huh? Even after being married to someone else, she is not letting them have their life? Woman, move on. Use your mind. I mean, who justifies bad decisions like this?
So
I'm married to somebody else.
So now you're married to someone else.
Divorce him. No, just because. Just because. That's great. That's an upstanding deal.
You're married to somebody else, but you haven't divorced him?
Right.
That doesn't
Seems
sound
like everybody's
legal.
up to something, huh?
Some words of advice and encouragement needed to be articulated for them, and Judge Lauren honored it. I hope they get these words in their minds for the sake of a little baby girl.
Because I looked at a beautiful little girl on this screen, and all I can think is, she deserves more than this.
She deserves family. She shouldn't just have to be around them two.
This court is concerned with the best interest of this child.
Their to and fro statements and allegations were all over, and it was getting nowhere. So let's get those results for the baby and see if it will settle the dispute between them or not.
When it comes to 10-month-old Kayla, Mr. Hill, you are her father.
Elementary school sweethearts are presiding over their case in the paternity court when Ms. Rogers accused Mr. Stone, the father of her child. However, defendant denied her claims and stated it was nothing but just a casual fling. I want to tell this young boy a fling can surely produce a baby.
Ms. Rogers, you say after an encounter with your elementary school sweetheart, you ended up pregnant. You say the defendant has gone through great lengths to deny he is the father of your son, Christian. Mr. Stone, you say Ms. Rogers is promiscuous and it was only a casual fling.
The trial begins on the relationship recap. It turned out they met at the party and then ended up being intimate with each other, and it was labeled as just a fling. Can anybody please tell me if the one lasts for a month or more?
I met him in elementary school. We was friends. I kind of moved away after a while. We was close friends, but you know, we never kept in touch because we were so young. And one day, after some years of being apart, I was at my friend's house, or I was at her boyfriend's house, and we were chilling, and he walked through the door, and I'm like, really? Of all places, he had to walk into where I'm at.
However, defendant told the opposite story. It was revealed they had been intimate several times. I want to know, what is the point of denying paternity of that little baby boy?
Your Honor, when I walked in, we caught eyes. She was on his lap, and
I was not
like
on
I
his
said,
lap.
we ended up talking.
He could make you
from
believe
each
I
other.
was not.
One at a time.
We separated from everybody. We started talking. Yes, we ended up leaving from one of my friend's house, went to her friend's house. We did have sex, but we had a condom on.
No.
When we left that house, we went home, went to my house. We had a condom on.
What is this happening? Intimate with girlfriend and sweetheart at the same time. What's wrong with these people? Why do such nasty things? If Shameless had a face, it would be this guy for sure.
Every time.
Did you have unprotected sex
One time,
with
Your
Ms.
Honor.
Stone?
It was not one time.
And that was in the threesome.
It was not one time. It was
In
not
the
one time.
where?
And the threesome between me, her, and
So you didn't use protection in a threesome with Ms. Rogers and another.
the other girl was my girlfriend.
A series of accusations is being dragged into the court, and to stop them, Judge Lauren hopped into the pregnancy part. It turned out the defendant and plaintiff told the same story with two different perspectives like this, one alleging and the other denying.
Not once.
When he-
What happened was, this particular day, I was in the car with one of my friends. They pulled up on me, and he said he had to go pick his girl up and her, which is her best friend. We get to them, we drop them them off at the hospital. Imagine, I don't know what we doing. She haven't said nothing. Matter. We did drop her off at the hospital.
Anyway, baby mama brought a conception calendar to support her claims, and her testimony asserted that no matter wherever you see, Mr. Stone would be the potential father of her baby.
It shows you when my baby was conceived, no matter where you want to put it at, and when he was born.
This is a calendar that states that baby Christian was born on August 25th.
I went over my due date because Christian was a very big baby, and my body wasn't trying to get him to come out.
Definitely didn't hear about that one either.
Even so, he admitted that he was intimate with her during the window of conception. He continued to deny the paternity of the baby, but the plaintiff didn't let him play and provide the evidence of him admitting the baby as his baby.
Deep down inside, I don't think it's my child at all.
This is the first time he's sitting this. Let me tell you something. When me and him talk, this is his baby, okay? This is
really
baby. He says my baby. He does not say the baby. He says my baby. I have text messages of him saying, I want what can I get?
I'd like to see those.
In spite of this drama, they didn't agree on one point, and arguments were all over. It's time to turn off this annoying drama. Let's get those results to see if Bobby Mama got what she came for.
The case of Rogers versus Stone. When it comes to 7-month-old Christian Rogers, Mr. Stone, you are not the father.
Told you I don't got lying about nothing. I know what I did. I paid for extra.
Denying paternity to have a single life is spite low. Ms. McIntyre and her mother hauled Mr. Wilson to court to prove that he is the father of her child. However, the alleged baby daddy opposed the claims, and they both want a DNA test to resolve this conflict. Let's move to plaintiffs.
Ms. McIntyre, you and your mother stand before me claiming that you are 100% certain that Mr. Wilson is your 3-year-old son, Jashawn's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
You say the only reason he has doubt is because he wants to live a single life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The trial commenced with the relationship recap. It turned out that Mr. Wilson catfished baby mama on Facebook, and what she saw and what she got was totally the opposite.
We was talking on Facebook. He shared a couple of pictures with me. He shared a picture like this. I thought he was very cute. He said he was gonna take care of me and my daughter.
On Facebook, he was already gonna take care of you and your daughter?
Yeah, he sold me a dream.
You had never met?
No, we never met before.
Okay.
So we finally wanted to meet up. Yes, he catfished me.
And when Judge Lauren asked about the paternity issue, he said that he is not denying the child, but baby mama is promiscuous, and she had several guys who she was dating.
I want to be honest. I'm not here to say I'm denying my kid, but at the same time too, Miss McIntyre, yeah, kind of ratchet at the same time.
When you say kind of ratchet, are you indicating or inferring that she sleeps around?
Yes, Your
I don't believe that he's saying that.
Up next, the recap of the baby's birthday brought some drama and lame excuses from the defendant. At first, he said that Ms. McIntyre didn't tell him, and then it turned out that he gave her a lame excuse for not coming like this.
Did you tell Mr. Wilson?
Nope. Nope, not until after the fact. They claimed that they didn't have no way.
Are you serious?
They claimed they didn't have no way of getting in contact with me. They called me after the fact he was conceived. I wasn't at the hospital.
No, he was not at the hospital because
none of that.
he didn't have a ride. That was his excuse.
Next came up the conception calendar by the defendant. Baby daddy asserted that he was going round the circle, but baby mama went ghost. She was nowhere to be found, and he didn't hear from her in months.
January, I totally disagree with this because we kind of didn't really start making it happen like that till like way after my birthday, which is on March 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, but since she said she was on January, we gonna follow with that, all right? So, boom, she was gone May. Let's put it right there, ghost. Didn't know where to find Teresa. I'm hearing her line, not getting no texts.
After listening to enough arguments and testimony, Judge Lauren decided to read the DNA test results. Let's get those results and see what the envelope is hiding in it.
When it comes to 3-year-old Jashawn McIntyre, Mr. Wilson, you are his father.
Told you.
That's all I needed to know.
You may not achieve perfection, but it's important to see perspective.
To substantiate her claim of paternity, Ms. Lockridge brought Mr. Tidwell to court because he has been refusing to be her child's father. However, the alleged baby daddy stated that he was never serious toward baby mama and her pregnancy news shook him. Let's move to the plaintiff's points.
Ms. Lockridge, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Tidwell, to court because he has refused to acknowledge your 10-month-old son, King. You are 100% sure he's the father and claim today's results will prove your case. Mr. Tidwell, you say you were never in a serious relationship with Ms. Lockridge imagine when she told you she was pregnant. The timing leads you to suspect that baby King's father must be another man.
At the beginning of the trial, it was revealed that despite the denial of paternity, he named the baby. I mean, if he is so certain that he is not the father, then why did he name the baby?
Named him King, Mr. Tidwell?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you don't have a relationship with him?
Nope, because, Your Honor, I think she's more wants me to be the dad than she really believes I'm the dad. She's obsessed with me, and she's done a lot of different things to make me feel like I'm not the father. She's left town. She's left me with the baby for weeks.
It was not a week.
She hasn't communicated with me. She has other men around.
But you named the child.
She gave me the right to do that.
Even so, Mr. Tidwell said that their relationship was nothing. But how can their relationship mean nothing after spending all these years together? I mean, he didn't have feelings for her even after spending so much time with her. That's strange.
There was no relationship.
Just, what, casual sex?
Yes.
We were on and off for 6 years. We were together for my understanding, how he led me to believe I was single or I was with him in a committed relationship.
However, the drama kept escalating with all the allegations of cheating put on each other by both. Baby daddy accused mommy of sleeping with another guy when the baby was conceived.
She has another guy that she was sleeping with.
During the time that you were having sex with Ms. Lockridge, were you aware of anyone else she was involved with sexually?
Not personally, but we weren't.
There was nobody else.
Up next, Judge Lauren jumped into the pregnancy news. It turned out he got to know from a piece of paper. Well, yes, a piece of paper can cause major conflict like this if that is a paper on pregnancy test reports.
And so how did you find out she was pregnant?
She came over to my house. We hung out. The next day, I see a piece of paper on my bed. I grab it, I looked at it. It was a note with an ultrasound in it.
What did the note say?
I'm not sure the exact words of the note, but it said that she didn't know how to tell me this, and she's sorry she had to tell me like that.
But such behavior shows a complete lack of respect and empathy towards people. I think it's just, if you can't step up to the plate, you shouldn't be doing the things that make a baby.
You hear he got another girl pregnant,
Yep.
and then it made you excited to be pregnant?
No, when I found out I was pregnant, I was excited because I was gonna have his baby.
Because you loved him.
I love him. I have a lot of love for him, but am I in love with him? No, because he doesn't treat me the way. I am not obsessed with you. If I was obsessed with you, there wouldn't be nobody else.
What? He wasn't even there for the baby's birth. That's such ignorant and irresponsible behavior. He gave such a lame excuse to defend himself like this.
When I had my son, I was in labor for 36 hours, completely by myself, to the point where the nurse that was with me, she had to call the doctor and ask the doctor if she could stay with me because I was by myself.
Okay, so he is so certain because he has seen another guy in the picture. He claimed that she came with that guy and took the baby from him and left.
I said, do you want to spend time with your son? Because I'm fixing to go take a modeling shoot in Nevada.
No,
She
just dropped the baby off. She came to visit and brought him to visit. While she was visiting, she decided to leave.
And if you think this is too much, let's move to the results and watch what the results envelope is holding in it. Will it save the day for the baby, or baby mama will have to do some research?
Mr. Tidwell, you are not his father.
Are you kidding me?
Messed up, man.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
From the bottom of my broken heart, Wallace Tidwell, I'm sorry.
Real drama unfolds when Ms. Daniel is pointing fingers at Mr. Lennon, claiming he bamboozled her into having his baby and then vanished into thin air. But the defendant pinned all over the allegations and claimed something else. That's an intriguing episode.
Ms. McDaniel, you say you were tricked into having a baby by the defendant, Mr. Lennon, but once you got pregnant, he ditched you and immediately denied he fathered your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lennon, you say the plaintiff is nothing but a promiscuous gold digger and there is no way you're her son's biological father.
The alleged baby daddy apparently had quite the plan to start a family with the plaintiff, only to disappear once he had accomplished his mission of getting her pregnant. One can only wonder what motivated such a selfless act of fatherhood.
So he was the one to plant to have me pregnant, Your Honor.
He wanted a baby?
Yes.
Tell me.
He told me that he wanted to have a child, which was biologically his, because he have two that's not his.
The defendant has a rather peculiar explanation to offer. He claimed that he and Ms. McDaniel bumped into each other on site and ended up in a sexual relationship, and he was only interested in her lifestyle. But if he had no ulterior motives, then why engage in any sort of relationship in the first place?
You know, Your Honor, that's not true.
When the simple fact is, when I met her off of a site. And from me meeting her from a site, I wanted to see what kind of person she is and see if she wanted to have a life.
He also wanted to have sex with me, Your Honor. He asked me for my number on the site that he met me off of. That is correct about that, but he wanted to have a baby also.
Your Honor, I had a 2-year-old child that passed in my life, and that kind of hurt.
However, the alleged father's story is quite a spectacle. Apparently, he was tricked twice by different women into believing that he was the biological father of their children. So, if this is truly the case, it would be prudent for him to obtain DNA results.
I told her about my past or what happened and how I was hurt 2 times off of a blood test.
Told my sister
and I'm not going through that mess again.
So you've had paternity issues in the past,
yes,
paternity
Your Honor,
situations,
yes,
and you
Your
say
Honor.
on 2 different occasions the child turned out not to be yours?
After he done stopped.
And Judge Lauren asked the witness to share more information about this paternity issue. She testified that Mr. Lennon accepted the baby at first and promised to take care of him. But now he is not only denying paternity, but everything. Such behavior from the defendant seems to be the ultimate betrayal.
He came and picked her up, and she stayed for about like 2 weeks.
And so that automatically makes him the father?
Yeah, I even had a conversation with Mr. Lerner.
And what did he say?
About he was going to take care of her.
No, I did not say that.
Take care of the baby.
I did not say that
He
to
was
that
gonna
woman.
put her and the baby
I did not say
in
that.
a
No, the only time I
house.
talked to your sister is when she was in the hospital, and that's when I was introduced to her.
Next came the conception calendar from baby mama. It was revealed that they had shared an intimate relationship in the time frame when the baby was conceived, but daddy was persistent in his denial game. Let's hope it will make some sense.
This calendar outlined the time that I spent with Mr. Leonard.
Okay. You spent a week with Mr. Lennon in June.
Yes.
In July, the doctor said you were 4 weeks and 5 days pregnant. That was during the window of the time you say you were sleeping with Mr. Lennon.
I was with Mr. Lennon the whole time.
You were at his house?
At his house.
We did not have sex every
Constantly
day.
being intimate with each other.
Not every day.
The bump and go had taken a toll on the plaintiffs' lives, so Judge Lauren decided to skip the drama of the plaintiffs and cut straight to the chase by reading the DNA test results. Who needs suspense when you can just rip open an envelope and reveal the truth?
When it comes to 1-month-old Kimari McDaniel, Mr. Lennon, you are not the father.
That's right.
Like I told you. Like I told you. I told you. I told you.
Oh.
Ms. MacArthur had been irrevocably in love with the defendant. Sadly, their love and relationship reached a point where it could either break it or make it. Moreover, the plaintiff was also pregnant, and that fact didn't help either.
You claim you've recently learned the man you are in love with could possibly be your biological brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Veals, you agree that this discovery has turned your lives upside down, and you say you've recently received some even more shocking news.
Oh, this was going to be one fascinating case, albeit a little mortifying, but fascinating nonetheless. Oh yeah, initially, the loving couple had no idea they could be related and had a normal start to the relationship. But the family reunion had some revelations for them.
One of her family reunions, I ended up seeing some of my cousins.
As soon as you walk in,
cousins.
you see some cousins.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
I know some of my family on my dad's side.
But
I
I
don't know
was
them like
looking
that.
shocked,
But like I've met him like, you know what I'm saying, like once or twice in my life.
I'm shocked.
So
Because I didn't know that he knew any of the family members. I was thinking that he probably met them through our friend that we have in common.
Now, the million-dollar question was what made these guys related? Was it a shared mother or a father? Mr. Veals didn't grow up with a father figure, too bad, but the soon-to-be baby mama did. What she disclosed about her father, ding ding ding, ended up ringing a bell in the guy's head.
Arthur, did you grow up knowing your father?
Yes, I did. My mother and my father was married. He was always there with me and my brothers, except for when he was on the road because he was a truck driver. But I never seen Jeremiah because all of our cousins, like my uncles and my aunt, they would come get us for the summer to go to my grandma and spend time with my grandmother, and all the cousins and nieces and nephews would be there, and he was never there.
Next up was the story of what took place at that family reunion. Having recognized similar cousins wasn't enough. Ms. MacArthur's auntie had something to share with her as soon as these guys pulled up at the venue. And so the crumbling began.
Like, I'm not gonna look at funny because, like, my mom and my other aunts was there and they was looking at me funny in the face. And she pulled me to the side. She was like, I'm not gonna look at you funny in the face. That might be your brother, and whatever y'all got going on, y'all need to cut it out until you find out.
You said they were looking at you funny in your face, meaning you knew as soon as you walked in, they were giving you a side eye.
Right.
Something wasn't right.
Who knew a family reunion would turn into into a horror story for these guys. After the shocking truth bomb, these guys were told to keep a distance from each other. Obviously. I mean, who wouldn't? Alas, if only they had listened.
Did for a while, we tried to, but our feelings was too strong for each other. We had, when I say a slip up, we had sex 2 more times prior to that, after that.
And now you're pregnant.
Soon-to-be baby daddy came prepared with a witness, and he was his brother. Though as soon as he started testifying, it was clear he didn't seem to be a fan of Ms. MacArthur. Oh, this just kept getting more complicated and more
ridiculous story, how she claims she didn't know or she had no idea when she first met him, but she's told him before how her sister let her know that she could have a brother with the name Jay.
Yeah, Jay, not Jeremiah.
Jay, for you, for
he
someone
lives in a whole nother state.
For someone to come, that don't make no sense. That's irrelevant.
He was
for
in
someone,
Texas
for you,
and I was
for
in
you
Pennsylvania.
to get into it physically with somebody.
Well, the brother had a lot to say for sure. And those were some serious allegations, which quite frankly didn't make much sense. Like, what was the meaning of it? Thank goodness for the judge, because she was on the same page as us and set the dude right.
She has way more family history than he does. He's blind, very easily influenced. I know I've done it. For her to be 11 years older than him, I have in my head that she does know. That even if they're not brothers and sisters, they could possibly even be related.
But how would I know? How would I know that if he
period.
just came from a whole nother state?
A lot was truly at stake for this couple in love. A baby who wasn't even born yet would either end up having a great life with 2 loving parents or a life full of horrors. The moment of truth was here.
The DNA result for Katrina MacArthur and Jeremiah Beals. You are not brother and sister.
That's what you told me.
This baby daddy was pretty positive that he was the father of little Javier. The only hurdle was the defendant. She was certain that Mr. Kendricks wasn't her guy. However, she had other ulterior motives behind denying paternity.
You opened your case to prove that you are the biological father of the defendant's 2-month-old son, Javier. You claim she is denying paternity only because she wants to be with another man and needs him to be the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Saavedra, you admit you allowed 2 men into your bed at the same time?
So how did this sordid love affair begin? As it turned out, Ms. Saavedra knew the potential baby daddy through her roommate. Seems okay so far, right? The question was, in what capacity was the said roommate involved with the plaintiff? Watch for yourselves.
Greg met each other through, he was dating a roommate of mine. And he came over one day. We did end up hitting it off and we was cool. Ended up having sex.
Okay, that's Three's Company, right? Y'all too young to know that show.
Speaking of Three's Company, when me and the man that I believe is Javier's father, Maurice, decided to include Greg in our mix and try and spice things up.
Ooh, mama! They sure spiced things up, like a lot. And this mutually beneficial arrangement went on for quite some time too. However, both parties were conflicted on the timeline, and it also appeared that Mr. Kendricks was more than helpful.
So how often was that happening?
It happened
off and on for like 10 years.
What?
It wasn't 10 years.
It happened like this, Your Honor. I've been knowing her 10 years. After I got her and we became friends, you know, I was still kind of talking to her friend. I hooked her up. She asked me, did I know anybody else, you know, that she could hook up with?
So who did you hook her up with?
Well, a half-cousin of mine.
Taking friendship to new heights, we got to see next how the potential baby daddy had more than a good rapport going on with the mommy. Yep, not only was he a third in their relationship, but also a confidant, as well as a kind of best friend too.
Disputes or whatever, he be cheating and all that. She called me crying and stuff, and you know, I had to go over there and kind of help her cheer up and stuff.
So you're saying you did the threesomes, but then you also would go over and sleep with her by yourself?
While he was at work, or, you know, while he was cheating.
Your Honor, that happened one time.
Because I took her
once.
Oh man. The plaintiff was having all kinds of fun with the baby mama. What in the world was that? He had his fun in threesomes, but also had a separate thing going on with the defendant as well. Though I gotta hand it to him, he was a little respectful towards the cousin at least.
Hey, so what are you saying? So when you had the threesomes with your cousin and her, you would wear a condom?
Yeah, for respect for him.
Because that's respect.
Yeah.
So then the night you had sex with her alone, that was unprotected.
Yes, ma'am.
It was. However, we got interrupted that time. Like, I messaged Maurice once we got back to the house and was like, I'm about to have intercourse with Greg.
That was a lot of information to get in so little time. Buckle up for some more now. The whole fun concluded with a pregnancy. Did that shock you? Nope. We saw it a mile away. Now that the cat was out of the bag, the reactions followed.
Say anything to the degree at the time. We talked about it later on.
Afterwards, he called me trying to act like, man, these old babies over here, dog. I'm telling you, when I see you, dog, it's on, man. You got me over here taking care of your babies. Cause between both of the babies, like before her first baby was born, that's when the threesome started.
Oh, so you have an older child with the cousin.
Miss Saavedra was a busy bee on the weekends, apparently, as they were filled with all sorts of extracurricular activities. Wow! Where does one get the energy to pull this off? Judge Lake finally asked the question we all were thinking of. Oh, yeah.
Miss Saavedra, I just have to stop. Unfortunately, I understand why Mr. Kendricks would probably enjoy it, because men can just be nasty like that.
Yeah, she want both her kids to have the same father, but
and they do.
About time, the infamous cousin Maurice came out to play. Unfortunately, he couldn't come to the court for these marvelous proceedings, but he did have something to share about this good old arrangement and the result of it.
Last year, Mercedes and I got into it because she thought I was having sex with another woman, which I wasn't. In retaliation, she had sex with my cousin Greg with no rubber. Shortly after, she comes up pregnant. I found out that they had been having sex behind my back for years. Since the dirty mess has come to light, I don't think her son is mine. He looks like Greg.
I'm not sure who he found that out from. Maybe he was talking to him and...
Now look at his nose and look at mine.
It was noble of Mr. Kendricks to be willing to step up as a father of little Mariah, but this bunch was one questionable lot with questionable activities. On the bright side, though, Ms. Saavedra finally ended up with an epiphany. Way to go, woman.
To each other.
And then that gives you a reserved right to sleep with her? What? I don't understand that.
I was sleeping with her first.
Is this what we doing out here? I missed something. Because you all are so casual about it. Like, you all just telling me how to bake a cake. And you keep having that little smile, Miss Saavedra. And I'm thinking to myself...
Because I'm so mad and upset and hurt and betrayed and everything else, I don't know how else to express.
Well, this was all fun and games till the consequences of their actions came and bit them in the back. While it was all casual for them and they laughed, guess who wasn't laughing? Baby Mariah. Let's see what was the fate of that baby girl.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, you are not the father. I can see that really disappointed you. You thought you were.
Yeah, Your Honor. You know, I tried to step up to the plate, you know, because I ain't have a father.
You sitting over here with this beautiful basket, and it seems like...
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to her anyway.
2 guys and 1 possible father. A regular feature at the paternity court. Ms. Alston believed one guy was her father till she was 15 years old, but soon she learned that wasn't the case. Yep, her whole world changed when she got to know about the defendant, and now she was in need of some answers.
Come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Holmes, you say there's no way she's your child, and today the DNA will prove your case.
Next up, we got to hear the testimony of the defendant. Apparently, he remembered Miss Cortez, the plaintiff's mother, in a different manner than she did. And this was exactly the reason he was so sure he didn't father the daughter being pinned on him.
The mother, back in the day, she was like fast. And because I met her at the school bus stop, she was in high school. And 2 days later after I met her, I had sex with her. I called her again a couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call.
It seemed Mr. Alston was only a father just in theory. He was listed on the birth certificate, but the plaintiff hadn't been too happy with the role of father he played in her life. And following that train of thought, the defendant had something to add as well.
Mr. Alston abandoned you. Did you try to have a relationship with him and he rejected you? How did he abandon you?
I tried to have a relationship with him and spend time with him. He wouldn't have time for me. I would visit his family members and he wouldn't be around.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
Say something? Her father kind of remind me of my father. The reason why I kind of like accepted her in because I know how it feels to not have a father. But I kind of like don't believe that she's mine.
Mr. Holmes brought a witness forward to back him up, and the said witness ended up being his mother. She had some things to enlighten us. While the alleged baby daddy adamantly denied being the father of the plaintiff, the grandma had a strong maternal feeling otherwise.
Because it's feeling inside of me that when Lori brought her to me and say, Miss Jenny, this is your granddaughter. I said, you sure that she's my granddaughter? She said, yes.
Hey, but Mom, how can you find out that she's my daughter before I find out? That's what was my problem.
That's the way it was, that she came to me first. She came to John, you know you was in the street.
Daddy Alston also came to court, and he came bearing some shocking news about the daughter. He vehemently denied being a deadbeat. Fingers crossed for him. Following his testimony, Ms. Alston ended up emotional and cried about what really mattered to her.
First thing she say, "Now how you doing, Daddy? I need some money." I was not deadbeat. I pay my child support every month. I pay my child support.
Minor. Where's the love? Where's the care? Where's the time? Where's the Christmases? That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We're not here about money.
We talking about 15 years though.
We're talking about actually 16 years.
After 16 years, you said you had another father after
who's
16
been
years.
more of a father to me than you have,
why
and you signed the birth certificate.
Why didn't you come to me?
By the looks of it, Mr. Alston went through a wild ride of truth that day in the court. While the daughter found out 15 years ago he wasn't her real father, the certified daddy dearest wasn't that lucky. He was made aware of this fact much, much later on.
Mr. Alston, when you hear this, I mean, this is
15 years, 16 years, and I found out today.
So you living your life and you have no clue that she's been told somebody else is her biological father. And that she's gone through all this and established ties with another family. You have no clue.
No clue. But calling me a year ago, 2 years ago, asking me, "Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, can I have that? Daddy, can you pay my bill?"
Ms. Alston wanted a father, and it was clear she wanted the defendant to be her biological father. Testimonies had been heard and evidence had been presented. It was time to put an end to this daughter's misery.
Mr. Holm, you are not Miss Alston's father. Mr. Alston, you are not Miss Alston's father.
Why'd she do that?
Lord have mercy. You still my grandbaby. Oh my God.
Here it goes. Broken home, deadbeat daddy, all the right ingredients for a rough childhood. That's exactly what happened to Ms. Wisniewski. She was dissatisfied with her parents' behavior and believed her father wasn't her biological father. Let's get some answers for her, shall we?
Both of your parents are the reason you grew up in a very unstable home. You say that your mother, Ms. Cortez, was extremely promiscuous and she pushed away your alleged father when you were very young. You also say you've never been sure that Mr. Wisniewski, who is joining us today from his hometown, is your biological father.
It seemed the daughter was pretty much done with the antics of her parents. She was upfront about what she thought about both of them. And it most certainly wasn't a pretty picture that she painted. That has got to hurt.
My mother was a whore when she was with my dad, and she slept around, and that's the reason why my mom and my so-called father had broken up. And I want to know who my dad is, because I don't know who he is. If this is my dad or another Jim was my dad. My mom's been with several other Jims in my life, and it's confused me from growing up.
Next up, we got to hear what the parents had to say to state their case. It must have been painful to hear such colorful words coming out of their daughter's mouth. Furthermore, the former married couple didn't seem to be too fond of each other as well.
It's very hurtful.
Please explain to us the circumstances as to why this beautiful young woman doesn't know who her father is.
Because I made mistakes, and yes, I did have an affair, but he also had affairs.
So now, Mr. Wisniewski, can you please explain why you doubt?
I have doubts because while we were together, I was in the military and went ahead and, I don't mind people buying drinks for ladies in bars free and stuff like that.
Things started heating up, and I, for one, predict a lot of drama in the future. Yep, Ms. Cortez denied the allegations of husband. But not everything. Oh yes, some truth was in there, and we are gonna find out.
Part about the bar is true, but that was a setup because I was more or less a drink hustler, not a man hustler, because I like to drink. And
But you do admit to having infidelity.
Specifically, what happened was on the way home from work one night, we were having an argument, and he threw me out of the car. It was late at night.
Wait a minute, you're supposed to be
and
Christian. You shouldn't be lying.
I had somebody pick me up because they saw me crying and very upset.
Was it a stranger or someone you knew?
I didn't know that person.
The troubles in the Wisniewski paradise soon turned to a divorce. I'm guessing the love had run its due course in their lives, and they put an end to it. Good for them. However, the husband had something else in mind, along with the divorce.
For divorce, ultimately, your statement to the court says that you asked for a DNA test, right?
That is correct. And don't lie on this, Sharon. You know it. You know it.
I don't recall that, Your Honor.
Yes,
I don't recall that.
You don't recall the conversation.
You're such a holy roller,
not
girl.
at all.
You're supposed to be the holy roller. Don't be lying. You change your life over to Christ. You change your life
over to God. If I don't recall
God.
something, I don't recall something.
So you don't remember this conversation?
No, I did not.
You know
okay.
In all that husband and wife drama, an important thing got missed. They were all there for the plaintiff to state her case, and when she got steamrolled by her parents, she let them have a piece of her mind. You go, girl. Let them have it. Pressure cooker finally burst.
Grandson, does this matter to you?
Well, the thing being is that, when she was born, Christine was born.
You even missed him. You missed the birth of him. Does that matter to you? Do you even care? her that he's 4 years old. He laughs kind of like you. When I hear you on the phone, he has your laugh. And then you sit there and you're going to deny him? Really? I mean, this is a child here. You messed up on my life. You can't even come around and be a grandfather?
Moving on, a valid question was raised by Ms. Wisniewski concerning her father. He abandoned her long ago, and not a peep had been heard from him since then. Why? That was the definition of a deadbeat dad, but Mr. Jim wasn't having it, even though that man had definitely not come out as the father of the year.
What happened there?
Okay, I did follow through with visitations. I did go ahead and I met. The thing is that when I left, her mother would always change her phone number for one. The other thing is that I'm not here to be played with. She knows that I am not father.
Mr. Wisniewski, I need to ask you this as well. How certain are you that you are not Ms. Wisniewski's father?
99 and 99%.
He did end up sharing some things that hinted he might have some love for the plaintiff after all. So hope was still there, I guess. Not so bright, but at least a little.
Is that Christina was a very beautiful baby, extravagant baby. She was so extravagant, I would put her in baby contests. She was an immaculate
And that's
baby.
why I need you to understand you love this child. You put her in baby contests. She's your beautiful baby girl. And then all of a sudden you disappear on her. And that's what her sadness, her frustration is about. Do you understand that?
Just when you thought the dude was not all bad, and boom, Mr. Jim went and had the audacity to say that about the plaintiff. Seriously, that girl could be your daughter, man. It was the lowest of the blows.
After your money.
Not only mine, but my folks, okay? I mean, they got a nice, extravagant, nice motorhome. They've got their own house paid for. They got
but Mr. Wisniewski,
your father's not even around, he's dead.
You really believe this girl is standing here in tears over a motorboat that your mama owns?
Why the heck would I want a motorhome? I don't even have my license.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Because they're over there and they're hounding them because they live a lot closer than I do.
Ms. Wisniewski had been on one hack of an emotional roller coaster. Her parents disappointed her greatly, and this paternity doubt had nagged this family for quite a long time now. Time for some real answers now. Oh, how I hope that guy does turn out to be the father.
Mr. Wisniewski, you are her father.
So, what now? What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna come over for Christmas and, try to play makeup or what,
But you can blame your mom for doing this.
Ms. Nelson here was in grave despair. For a long time, she believed one man to be her father, but her birth certificate told another story, and then a Facebook message led her down another different path. The defendant aimed to resolve some of the mysteries surrounding the plaintiff.
Ms. Nelson, you say you grew up believing one man was your father, yet had another man listed on your birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, after you turned 30 years old, a third man, the defendant, suddenly contacted you on Facebook claiming he was your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
This woman here was having curveballs thrown at her left and right. Plaintiff was led to believe her father was someone who was incarcerated, and she had weekend visitations. But bam! A few days in New York changed her whole outlook of life.
If a man was my dad, it was a man that was in prison. My mother took me to visit him weekend after weekend, week after week, and this is the man I grew up knowing that he was my father. I had went to New York to visit this man for 2 weeks, and he told me that this other man was on my birth certificate because my mom didn't want somebody like him in my life because he was in and out of prison.
Now that two possible fathers were in the picture, you would think, okay, not so bad yet. We just have to figure out amongst these two guys who was the real deal, right? Nope, that didn't happen. Because destiny had another shocking revelation in store for Ms. Nelson.
Well, I know you don't know who I am, but I'm your father. I'm so sorry for all of the years I have missed you growing up. What were you thinking when you get this message?
Your Honor, honestly, I didn't even know what to think because it was like
It's like it's just coming out of nowhere.
Absolutely. It was outrageous to me that I had got this message with all these different men.
Two Christophers were in the plaintiff's life who claimed to have fathered her. Now that was a real head-scratcher. About time, the defendant revealed what information he possessed to untie this knot of paternity concerning the said daughter. Well,
the reason being, I had problems with other people in my life, so I didn't want to use my real full name. So I made up a Facebook page of Christopher Lancaster. I always was looking for my daughter. Always. To me, I feel that she's my daughter. So I always was looking for her. I remember her birthdays and everything. So I always was looking for her. So I put that message on there to contact her.
Some of the confusion was sorted, at least, though still a long way to go. Moving on, Mr. Sterling was more than forthcoming on telling the court how his budding love came to be with the plaintiff's mother. The daughter sure was mortified listening to it.
School sweethearts, and
Yes, ma'am, high school.
you were there for the birth?
We met in high school. We had sex every day during the summer. Every day. Every day.
Oh my God.
Every day.
Oh my God.
My mother even caught her in the house. My mother walked in the door and I heard the key come in, but I had her mother hide in the closet.
I bet you didn't see what came next. Ms. Nelson had 3 possible fathers, we know that by now. One was in prison, one was on the birth certificate, and the last one standing in the court. Guess who the man on the birth certificate was?
Vincent Preston Nelson. And then you say you were at the hospital.
Because, ma'am, I am Vincent Preston Nelson.
Wait a minute. You are Vincent Preston Nelson.
Yes, ma'am, and I have evidence to prove to you right now today.
Shock after shock after shock, man. For real. This case truly was a thriller in the making with all the right mystery. Now that Mr. Sterling was, in fact, Mr. Vincent, it's only fair we got to know how this came to be.
That is, in fact, you.
I was younger then. Excuse my hair, I didn't get a haircut back then.
This is you on this
Yes, ma'am.
ID card.
Well, when I grew up, I never met my real father. When I met my father when I was 17, he said, "We changing your name to Christopher Sterling Jr." I said, "Of course."
Next up, we got to see the emotional side of the defendant. It was an awe-worthy moment. He so clearly wanted to be the father to our plaintiff here, yet she had a pre-established bond with the other man already.
I look like the other man.
Mr. Sterling, I see this has you very emotional. What is it you feel? Are you just so upset because she was led to believe something different?
I look like him. I don't look like this man right here.
And you just believe in your heart that's your daughter?
Yes, Your Honor.
And all these years you've been hurting, just missing her?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's almost unbelievable.
The key player of this mystery drama finally made an appearance in the court. The plaintiff's mother, Mama Nelson, had some things to share. Yep, she had recognized the defendant, but she had a different story for the prison man, though.
And at some point, you met this man in prison, and then you ended up telling your daughter that he was her father.
Never. Against my wishes and against my other family's wishes who she was staying with, she snuck and went to see this man.
Mr. Sterling brought a witness to back up his claim. Good for him. His younger daughter testified on his behalf, but her testimony ended up raising certain doubts. Yep, and these doubts led to Ms. Nelson blowing up on the defendant. Guess she had reached her limit of the drama.
I've been told my whole life, but I've never met her, and I feel like if that was my sister, why wasn't it a connection? Why didn't we have a connection? And it's more where I came from. I have 2 other siblings, so it's like, why wasn't she brought to me? Like, were us 2 brought together, period? So it's like, is she my sister? I don't know. I have no idea.
This is a lot. I mean, this is just...
And I don't even know what to say. I honestly don't even know what to say, but I feel like he could have done more to find me.
Ms. Nelson had been searching for 30-some years to find whom she belonged to. That was a pretty long time to wander around aimlessly in search of a tribe. The defendant strongly believed he was the real deal, and my money was on him. Here are the results.
Mr. Sterling, you are her father. This is exactly why I get up in the morning.
Animosity can make people do all sorts of things. Yeah, believe it or not, it can even make mothers deny the alleged right to paternity when such a spleen. Set foot no matter how many miles you go or how much you beg. It's hard to change mommy's mind.
Mr. Rasmussen, why is Ms. Miller saying you're not Zaylee's father?
Your Honor, I believe it's just out of pure hatred. She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off. That's about 10,000 miles. That's wear and tear on my car.
Hate? Is that a really strong word? Would you prefer dislike? Well, no. Mr. Rasmussen, the fact he chose someone else over his ex-fiancée has created a rift between them, and now she wouldn't let her get close to their daughter. Let's see if the Tigerton woman agrees with these claims.
Tell me what you believe to be true in this situation.
Yes, I was very mad at him for being a cheater. He cheated on me through pretty much our whole relationship. No, I do not hate him because of that. I lost my respect for him, yes.
He says this is about visitation, too. He loves his daughter, but you don't want him to have the visitation. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wait, he is doing his taxes. Does that make sense? It did to mommy, I guess. Still, Judge Lake had a hard time buying it. The money he would get will go into the expenses of seeing his child. Plus, he was already paying child support.
But what he's saying, Miss Miller, is it's clearly not about money if he's paying his child support. And he also spends money coming to see her. What is this really about for you? Why is it you don't want him involved in this child's life?
Because I still believe that he's not hers.
Okay, and listen, that's what we're here for. I want to get down to the bottom of the truth.
Yeah.
Miss Miller, how she was sure that Mr. Rasmussen was not the biological father because he was playing a full-blown dad. Why would a man do such things if there was an ounce of doubt? The baby mama responded like this.
When she was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state. He was in Vegas. And at that time in March, I wasn't even with him. I was with somebody else because he broke up with me because he cheated on me.
You heard the woman? She swindled out of spite, which added another potential father to the mix. Then why was the defendant so steady on being a father? Turns out that he found out recently in the couple's court while fighting over the custody of the baby girl.
With the family court commissioner, did the math, and it turns out that would be a 10-month pregnancy, and that don't make sense to me.
Because it was so long ago, I was confused about the dates, but now that I went through both of our Facebooks, I went through all of my notes, all of anything that I wrote down, and I figured out that.
And the other father part popped up when they broke up, which raised more suspicion. In addition to that, he was listed as the father on the birth certificate, and the defendant even told them how excited was to see her daughter that he beat his girlfriend to the hospital.
After she was born.
That was an amazing story. You say that was a lie?
Yes, it is.
How do you remember it?
After she was born, he was gone. He ran out of the room. I didn't see him for 20 minutes after that. While I was in labor, he was sitting on one of those hospital cot beds on his computer in the corner, not paying attention to me, in his own little bubble.
What is this woman's problem anyway? It's like she is living in her bubble. So the judge straight up asked her that. Turns out that after getting cheated on multiple times, she just wanted the man out of her life.
Other lady and I was the side chick, which I didn't even really know about.
All of this is happening, and this man is continuing to step up to the plate like he has a daughter on the way, like he has a newborn baby girl. Even through the breakup, you all are making custody and visitation arrangements, but you know deep down there's another possible father.
Yes, sir.
Exactly my point. Why so long to tell him? Ms. Miller defended herself with the same excuse. Oh, more she grew up. Her looks changed. My doubts became clear. Oh, if you had doubts in the first place, why not talk about them?
Exactly like I did when I was 3 years old. I have a picture of me when I was 3 and a picture of her from just the other day.
Let me see that. Will you hand that to me, Jerome?
Believe it or not, when I was 3 years old, I had blonde hair.
And so this is a picture of Zaylee on the left and you as a child, Mr. Rasmussen, on the right.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you say you see a distinct similarity.
Yes, I do.
Do you see it, Ms. Miller?
Mm-mm.
You don't?
I don't.
Suspicion or not, it was evident that Daddy was at the podium and was not ready to give up on his daughter that easily. He wanted the DNA result so all of the drama would finally be over. But what if it proved otherwise? Will he be able to bear that bombshell?
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
I'm sorry.
Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve. You just showed me where your priorities were right there.
I'm sorry.
Because I held out hope.
Cheating on your boyfriend for whom you left your husband. Miss Jackson has been hustling a lot, and now both of her children are in doubt circles. Because even though Mr. Levitt loved the kids, he couldn't shake off the infidelity part.
Mr. Levitt, what is your relationship like with Corey Jr.? He's 15 months
That's
old.
my baby, I love him.
That's your baby. He is adorable.
Yeah.
That's his baby, but he denied him.
I have doubts. And my oldest son looks different from him. He's darker, he's chubby,
He has a different mother.
Another son by another woman.
Twins.
Yeah.
He has a different mother.
Right.
Of course he's gonna look different.
But the stuff that she be doing, it brings the doubts on it.
Well, the constant infidelity wasn't only on the defendant's part. She even imposed that the man at the podium was just making things up because he can't commit to one woman. The woman had all surveillance set up on the Orlando man.
Like stalking you. You gave me your
Texting
password.
devices on my phone, right?
Yes, because
How
I
many
did not
times?
trust you.
Every time I delete it,
Every
I wake up in the
time.
morning
And
sometimes.
when you get a new
I see a
phone-
little bird on the top of my phone. Like, what this bird doing? You know what
Your
I'm
Honor,
saying?
he's
So I
been
find the
proven-
tracking device and I delete
He's been
it.
proven to be
And
not loyal.
days go by, another tracking device on my phone.
He's been proven to be not loyal.
Trust issues are running through this relationship. Next, the plaintiff pointed out that Miss Jackson had too many kids, which show her dealing with different men, and he can never believe a woman like that, which was hard for the baby mama to digest.
Then that same guy ended up sending naked pictures to my phone.
Because you asked him
No,
for
matter
him.
of fact, it was
He
her phone.
guy.
It was her
He-
phone.
he
I was
got in my
talking like
Facebook.
I was talking
He
like I
got
was
in
her.
my
I was at
Facebook.
work.
Hold on, one at a time. Let me
I was
hear
at
this.
work and I was, and he texted.
I know that makes no sense. Let me make make it simple for you, Miss Jackson lied about a random guy at her house being her cousin. That man used to pop out at her house uninvited, and this added soreness in the relationship.
Did you, hold on, Mr. Lovett, did you request a naked picture?
Yeah. All of this leads you to doubt that Corey Jr.
Because he's seen
is
another
your
man
child.
cutting my grass.
Was there anything else going on? You can't get pregnant by somebody cutting the grass.
Did Mr. Lovett have any other proof apart from that? Well, there was one when they had broken up, and right after that time, the defendant got pregnant. Quite striking, right? That is exactly how the plaintiff felt too.
You feel like you all broke up and you all were at odds. She started going out with somebody else. Next thing you know, she's pregnant, but then trying to get back with you because you feel like she wanted you to take care of this baby and all of her other children.
That too, and also she's still married, so I wasn't
And my
taking it
divorce
serious
was
in the beginning.
until I got
So I'm
pregnant.
still not
so now we
taking
got
it serious.
kids in between the marriage.
Yeah, we must not forget that she was still married to someone else. So no matter how many boyfriends come and go, her husband will have to take care of all the children, which isn't fair. Listen to the hubby himself.
How long have you been married to Miss Jackson?
6 years.
6 years.
Separated for 4 years.
In your mind, is there any chance you are Corey Jr.'s biological father?
No, Your Honor.
None.
No. I have my own life going on. I just had 2 beautiful twins.
They most certainly were in legal limbo. Though the baby mama knew how serious it was, she refused to take all the blame because she was too pretty to be anyone's doormat. Well, no one should be taken as slack. Still running between men like that is not a healthy obsession.
Mr. Lovett is Corey Jr.'s father. That you're convinced of.
Oh, yeah.
She can't stay alone, and it shows whether I'm in her life or not, she gonna keep it moving.
It ain't my fault I look good.
Yeah, you look good.
But you do have trouble being alone.
Yeah,
and that's
I do.
not because you're beautiful.
Right.
That's not how you look on the outside, that's how you feel on the inside, babe.
With that mess being addressed, let's not forget that it was kids who were being neglected and taken for granted. That's why there was one way left to know where their future will land. Time to get that envelope.
Mr. Coleman, you are not his father. Mr. Lovett, you are not his father.
Told this. That's why I wanted to get DNA.
Are you sure? How is that possible?
Do you know who his father is?
You know who it is.
Oh my God.
Mr. Lovett, you are Ariel's father.
Sleep in joy can make you weep in disgust. As you can see in this case, Mr. Bostan dragged the defendant into court saying that he has undeniable proof that there is no possibility of him being the father of this trifling woman. Meanwhile, Ms. Murphy asserted that she is tired of the plaintiff's lies and she wants to stop by conducting a DNA test, moving to the plaintiffs to see to whom the DNA diagnostic will favor.
Boston, you have dragged the defendant into court today because you say you have undeniable proof that there is no way possible that you are the biological father of the defendant's 10-month-old son, Tristan. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the testimony started with Mr. Boston's evidence, and the evidence was invisible. No one could see that. Because his dynamic words were the solid, undeniable proof, I think something hit his mind. His words do not seem trustworthy as he is just clearly bluffing.
Mr. Boston, what is your proof that you are not Tristan's father?
Your Honor, you have to have sex to make a baby. And I don't believe in, I don't remember even doing that well.
Lie.
You don't remember
lying.
having sex with Miss
All of a
Murphy?
He's
sudden, why am I
lying. You was
finding
at my
out
house
that-
all the time, every day, every night, in my bed. Stop it.
It is your assertion to this court that you've never been in a sexual relationship with Miss Murphy?
I mean, I'm not denying it like that, but I'm just saying.
Here the yes or no game begins. Let's play with them. Ha! The defendant stated that they were in a committed relationship, but the plaintiff tried to blow off the baby mama's testimony with his dumb lies like that.
Mr. Boston, you say you weren't in a committed relationship.
No.
Yes, we were.
She done turned the friendship into a whole marriage.
OMG, like, for real, really? No, that ain't how it went.
Miss Murphy.
Yes, Your Honor.
So how long were you in this sexual relationship?
4 months.
I wasn't even in her house for 4 months.
He's lying. He's
She
lying,
would
Your
call me
Honor.
and beg
He's
me
lying.
over there
He's
every other
lying.
night.
Oh my. Who on earth is this desperate to be intimate with the girl? Man, you were sleeping with her for 4 months and still did not know her real name? What he is testifying is just crazy or he is naive.
Your Honor,
He rubbed my belly and everything. He was smiling and
She
everything.
was pregnant in the process of me being
No,
over a
no,
family member's house.
No.
That family member came in the house and told me, well, you know somebody named Teresa? At the time, I didn't know her government name. Only thing I knew was
He's
Bookie.
lying. He's
I knew her
lying,
by
Your Honor.
Bookie. I never knew Teresa Murphy. Never knew her name was Teresa.
Oh my God.
Even
Your
in
Honor,
Chicago.
so you.
On the procession of trial, it slipped out that Ms. Murphy was busy with another, but she stated the facts of her being certain regarding the baby's parentage. She told the court that when the baby was conceived, she was with Mr. Boston only.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Before you got
No.
pregnant, was he the only man you were intimate with
No.
at all? Let her answer.
No.
No. Okay. So why are you convinced that Mr. Boston is the father?
Because for the period of time when I found out I was pregnant, the time adds up. He was the only man that I was.
No, I was
intimate
not.
with. He was the only man that I was with.
To clear up the doubts, Judge Lake summoned Mr. Gregory into the court. He contended that they were sexual buddies, and upon getting news about baby mama's pregnancy, he blew everything off and blocked her instantly. I must say this man has got nerves. After his false actions, he is narrating them proudly.
We've determined that you, in fact, have had a relationship with Ms. Murphy.
A sexual relationship.
Just a sexual relationship. Take me back to the day Ms. Murphy told you she was pregnant.
She texted me on Facebook and told me she was pregnant. I never talked to her again. Like deleted everything. So I blocked her. So I blocked her.
You got a message on Facebook that she was potentially pregnant by you and you deleted her?
Blocked it.
He blocked.
However, the witness rolled up to the podium and testified in her best friend's favor. She asserted that she also knows that Mr. Boston is the father and he is just making up stories to avoid the situation.
Who do you believe is Tristan's biological father?
Mr. Boston.
And why is that?
Yeah, I was living with Teresa the whole time.
So when he was saying he wasn't really coming over there that much.
Right, he was.
And he was sleeping on the floor.
He was sleeping in my bed.
Was Mr. Boston the only man coming over there within that 4-month period?
When she was saying him, he was the only man.
Things were out of control as the baby mama didn't even know who the baby daddy was. Their non-serious back and forth statements made Judge Lake ferocious, and she gave the reality check to these adults like this.
You're responsible if you know you slept with more than one man during the window of conception. It is your responsibility to figure out who that child's father is. And before you rope somebody arbitrarily into child support without knowing he's the father, to just figure out that issue. You know both of these men could be that child's father. And men, you're not off the hook. So don't think just because I am empowering this young woman to understand what she should have done.
Their ongoing discussion further fuels the whole situation instead of helping to resolve the case. But it was quite evident that they needed to know the results for the baby, and his biological father needed to be a man up. So let's go, get those results, and see what envelope is hiding in it.
Mr. Gregory, you are not his father. The next results read as follows. Mr. Boston, you are not the father. Ms. Murphy, do you know who this child's father is? Thank you for the truth. Because you can't get anywhere till you tell the truth. As you come of age and get older, you're gonna learn that sometimes you just gotta put your big girl panties on and you got to tell the truth.
It must hurt when you plan something good for someone and they stab you back. In this case, Mr. Wilson wanted to prove to the defendant that he was not the father of her child, while Ms. Dean believed otherwise and said he turned his back on her and the baby, and now his denial is hurting them. So to get to the closure, we need a DNA test.
Mr. Wilson, you've opened your case today to prove that Ms. Dean's 17-month-old daughter, Jakaya, is not your biological child. You say you moved her into your home, laid out the red carpet, only to find out she was rolling around with other men in your home. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff said the reason he didn't accept the baby yet and wanted the results. Ms. Dean said he was lying and shocked the court with their foolish plans that worked out very badly in the end.
I don't believe I'm the father because I have been fooled by multiple females in the past.
Oh.
What do you mean you planned this?
And I have been going down this rodeo for far too long. I signed on a birth certificate. I'm not there physically. I just can't handle it because she just no consistency. I just want the answers today so I can just have closure.
Mr. Wilson explained his relationship with the defendant and told the plans they had regarding the baby. By far, the story seems fine until the plaintiff commented about the resemblance of the baby. Yeah, an ex popped up.
Page liking my comments
So
and
was you
my
was my
pictures.
boo? So
And she hit me up like, what you up to, and this, that, and the other. At the time, I was taking care of my stepfather, had my own house, car working, things of that nature. And because I had previous relationships with her in the past, I was single, she was single, we decided to meet up. And we met up and we actually planned the baby. The baby was just not a coincidence. I asked
So
her,
now
could
you
she
denied
have
her,
a
though.
baby for me?
The plaintiff said that he was unsure about the paternity because of the inconsistent lies of Ms. Dean, but the defendant denied the accusations and told the events of pregnancy. Well, we are not sure who is a better liar.
So you actually say, I wanted to have this baby together.
Yes.
And so where did everything go wrong?
Her
if you
story
planned
not
it,
consistent, the word she used. Yeah,
Okay.
It was not consistent as her storytelling.
Why
as
wasn't
the
it?
truth kept coming about, the lies kept adding up to it.
all right,
He is
so
lying,
take me
Your
to
Honor, to
finding
you in your face.
Wait, hold on.
The judge asked for Mr. Wilson's involvement during the pregnancy and childbirth, and he thoroughly admitted all of his responsibilities. So far, things look good, but where did it go wrong?
So I had to be there.
So you were there at the birth?
Yes, I was.
Did you go to doctor's appointments for the baby
She
too?
never followed through with them.
All right, but at the birth, you came.
I came.
And you cut the umbilical cord?
I did 1, 2, 3.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
So you accepted this baby as your own?
I did.
And at that time when you did that, you believed you were the father?
Didn't have no doubt.
The plaintiff explained the time when things started taking the wrong direction. After the accusations against the defendant, she called him a liar and started crying about her sole responsibilities for the kid. Girl, how can a man support you if you cheat on him?
Trying to build a relationship while she's pregnant. And in the mix of us building a relationship, she's getting bigger. She's whispering, I hear echoes. She's always in a different room of the apartment. And I'm like, why you never around the kids? Why? She's like, I can't talk now because my ex is here. And why is he there 11 o'clock at night if the kids got school in the morning?
And he knew exactly what was going on. And with that other guy, he just don't want to take responsibility and be a man and stand up.
Upon being asked about the paternity issue, Mr. Wilson said he didn't have any doubts until he confronted her ex and embarrassed himself by finding out the dirty ways she was playing with him. Well, now she is in trouble.
Didn't have doubt until
Insecure.
she's told me I didn't have sex with him. He's just laying on the couch. Okay, I went with that. When I ran into him at the bus stop, I said, this is coincidence. Now I can man up and ask him face to face. What's the story in his end? If it add up to what she's telling me, then I have no doubts. But he said the complete opposite of what she's giving me. And I asked him, I said, is y'all having a child together? He's like, yeah. I said, what y'all supposed to be having? He said, a little girl. He went into details.
The judge then asked the plaintiff why he signed the birth certificate. He shocked the court by sharing Ms. Dean's weird behavior when he had the baby to himself for a few days. Now this woman appears crazy.
So why'd you sign the birth certificate?
I'm gonna tell you why. When the baby was born, it was so light and bright. I was like, he's so dark, she's dark. It's no way he's the father. I still didn't have doubts until she called me on FaceTime with him on the phone. And they both confirmed that I wasn't.
And said
You was
what?
lying. I don't even
She
mess
was
with
like,
that man
bring me
like
back
that.
my baby, because I was like telling her I'm not, releasing her right now.
There you
She
go.
said, bring me back my baby.
The defendant fought back his claims and shared the reason behind her cold words to Mr. Wilson. In a minute, she threw a heartless accusation at him.
Would he just have the baby?
He had the baby trying to take the baby so he can be with someone else. He used me, baby.
She watched too many Lifetime, Your
No,
Honor.
he used me, Your Honor. After I had that baby, Your Honor, he proposed to me, told me that we were gonna get married, moved in together. He lied, took the baby, tried to move away. Well, he had the baby in his care. He never took her because I gave her.
Now, Mr. Wilson's witness stepped in and shared her stance on this confusing story and also recalled Ms. Dean's crazy behavior at her home. Defendant's double-sidedness is clearly shown here.
Yes, I asked my brother, why are you dealing with her again? She did this to you 9 years ago. Why are you getting yourself in a situation? We had just lost our father, so he grieved into this baby.
Okay.
It was a grievance and it was attachment instantly. Like, this is my baby. I think that she's attaching to him financially. It's not for looking for the father of this child. It's about what the baby can get from this man.
The defendant confronted the accusations and repeatedly said that they were lying. Well, now only a DNA test can give the closure they want.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father. Miss Faithful, stop.
Thank you, Jesus. I apologize for taking you through this, but I am gonna find out who her father is, and I am gonna.
You gotta find out?
No, when I say find
You gotta
out,
find
I'm
out?
gonna bring him on this courtroom like I did you at.